Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us tonight on episode 29, season 4 of the Standoff with Brad and Richie here on New Zealand Sport Radio. We're here live every Wednesday on Facebook throughout the season. Evening, Richie. Well, the Warriors and Knights kept their winning streaks alive, and the Eels beat the Panthers once again in what was, I thought, a pretty decent round. First of all, how are you, and what do you think of the round?
I'm very good, thanks, Brad. Hope you are as well. Yeah, I thought the round was fun. Obviously, another Warriors win, another scratchy win. But yeah, some other great games with some pretty big implications, like you say, the Eels versus Panthers and so on and so forth. So yeah, the fun's starting to begin now.
That's right. It's almost finals time. First final series in a while I can actually look forward to.
Yeah.
But while we're here live on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m, we'll also catch our show at your convenience on iHeartRadio, Spotify, all those places. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. As always, we're going to cover everything that you need to know in the week that was rugby league, including our top stories of the week, a review of round 26 and round 6 of the NRL and NRLW, and an update on our tips. We'll then stop and answer some questions from you guys as well as questions we got for each other. We'll then preview round 27, the final round, Richie, and make our tips before ending the night with a quick recap of Super League. And Paul is back this week after his week off last week.
Thank goodness, eh?
Yeah, thank goodness we don't have Brad butchering the producing of the show. So we'll do what we can. I see Simon and Jacko all here, even guys. So yeah, remember to send us comments and questions throughout the show, and we'll do our best to answer them. And we may as well jump straight into the top stories of the week, Richie.
Sounds good.
I feel like we may as well just call it the Rabbitohs and Bulldogs section this week.
Yeah, let's crap on them a bit.
Yeah. The first, before we get into rabbits and doggies, a lot of key players are being rested in preparation for the finals, which has upset some pundits. Upset me a bit when it first happened too, because I'm old school, I guess. But the pundits across the ditch have said that it's taken away from the fans, and they've suggested a bye round before finals to stop this happening. I don't think that would happen. I think if there's a bye round, they'd just give their guys 2 weeks off, in my opinion, if they got everything sewn up. What do you think, Richie? It's a bit different because we're now a team that can afford to rest players, which we've never really experienced before.
Yeah, crazy to think about. Hey, at the start of the year, if you told me that we would be in a position to rest players heading into finals because we're already locked into top 4, I would have laughed at you. But yeah, it is what it is when the season's this long, mate. And yeah, I don't know about the having a bye before kicking off the finals. That just eats into another week. You could have a test footy at the end, but the calendar's already pretty long. You just shave the season by a couple of weeks. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, and Simon says I'm fighting with. Sorry, I forgot Paul's here grabbing comments and stuff. Sorry, Paul. Simon said the AFL have a bye round before finals, and it's very controversial among their fans. And Jacko also said it's common sense to rest players if you can. Yeah, see, I don't like resting players because as a former very amateur, very bad player, I wanted to play every moment I could get. But I understand the reason. I think we talked about it last year when the same problem came up when the Panthers did it. But we saw it in the game just gone for the Panthers. Jerome Luai got a dislocation and is potentially out for quite a few weeks. So you really don't want that to happen the week before finals if you're playing in a game that really equates to nothing for you. Like I know you could say the Broncos and Panthers are still fighting for the minor premiership, but the minor premiership we've already discussed as well doesn't seem to mean a lot anyway to anyone. No one cares if you're the minor premiers if you don't win the grand final.
Especially if you're the Panthers who've just won 2 grand finals in a row. What does the minor premiership mean to you? Nothing really.
Yeah, exactly. And Jacko said as well, the Warriors have 6 hours of travel involved as well as injury risk. So why part of me still doesn't agree. I understand. So I'm not sitting here abusing them for what they're doing. But yeah, it's kind of a reward for the hard work you've put in for the first 26 rounds to get yourself in a position where you can do that. So yeah. Well, congrats on the teams that can, and thankfully we're one of them, Richie.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get into the rabbits now. I've got a lot here. I didn't grab everything because there's so much. When a team's not doing well, that's kind of when the knives come out, which is what we're seeing with both them and the Bulldogs, really. But the dramas at Rabbits continued. They did a bring your dog to work day, and Jairo's dog attacked the coach's dog.
Yeah.
Neither dog was harmed, thankfully. There was also lots of talk bubbling up about the coach giving preferential treatment to Cody Walker and Latrell Mitchell. And I've got a quote here from Captain Cameron Murray, which he says it's rubbish, but then what he says kind of points towards the preferential treatment, because he said it was rubbish and that the Rabbitohs club is great because they look after the individual needs and not everyone is on the same schedule. So that kind of is, in my eyes, being the facetious reader of it, it makes it sound like, yes, there are people that get special treatment because of who they are. But it wouldn't be an issue if they're winning, right? You know, you wouldn't care if the Rabbits were winning. It's the fact that they're losing that's the problem. And then before I hand it over to you, Rod Churchill made some comments about Latrell Mitchell in a fit of rage. He's since apologized, saying it wasn't he wasn't in the right headspace to make those comments. But there were noise coming out of the Rabbits that they're reportedly going to refuse the Clive Churchill medal should they win the grand final. Personally, I would be focusing on trying to make the 8 first before thinking about what you do in a grand final win. But what's your take on all that crap out of the Rabbits?
It's just that. It's crap. Exactly right. Why even talk about what you're going to do with Clive Churchill medals? You're fighting for the 8. There's a good chance you're not going to make it, so don't even need to come out with that talk. Like you say, when you're not doing so well, tensions tend to boil over, and you get stories like this. So glad it's not us. And never heard of any bring your dog to work days when Mitchell Pearce was around either.
No, the Roosters try to avoid that.
I'll be waiting for that one to get it in there.
And I see Ruse here, and he said, bunnies are boiled. There's a lot of problems there, and the only way to fix those problems in the media and in the fans' eyes is to win. I know it's not that simple. There's obviously something that they've got to work on. And Jacko said, NRL's greatest soap opera on earth. Yeah, every week there's a random story. And next week and the week after, we've got Mad Monday stories I'm sure are going to come out that we can talk about. So we'll see what happens. But before we get into the doggies, I thought I'd break it up with some other news first. But there was noise about Isaiah Papali'i looking at leaving the Tigers and heading back to the Eels. Also news that Stefano Utoikamanu possibly is wanting to do the same thing. Isaiah came out today and said that it's the first he's heard of this, and that he's denied it. He basically said he wants to see out his contract, which I think is only one more year with the Tigers anyway. But what's your take? From day dot, everyone was trying to get Papali'i away from the Tigers. So
where do some of these rumors come from? I don't know if there's any truth to it or not, but like you say, people were, before he'd even come to the club, people saying he doesn't want to go. He's going to try and backflip and stay in Parramatta.
He was there were even the talk that he was trying to be a Warrior again as well.
Exactly that. And then now look, he did go there, but who knows? Maybe this one season was enough to break him.
And Jacko said he thinks Papali'i's got 2 more years at the Tigers, and Roos said, in other words, he's negotiating a release. I guess we just got to wait and see. He's come out and denied it, so we have to take him on his word for what it is now. But how many times have we heard a player deny something and then, a week later it's official. So we'll just wait and see. Next bit of news, Papua New Guinea have signed Justin Holbrook as the head coach for the Pacific Championship later this year. But I think that's not a bad move. I think Holbrook's a good coach. Not great at the Titans at the moment before he got sacked, but it's a decent coach for PNG to get.
Yeah, 100%. That's a good pickup. PNG are so ultra passionate about their rugby league, and to have an experienced NRL coach come on board to help guide them, that's only got to be good.
Yeah, and Mark made a comment. Sorry, he said he thinks the comment about the dogs with Jairo, and that was brought up because one of his dogs got put down as it nearly killed another one last year. This one was the same breed.
I did hear about that.
So Jairo's the Michael Vick of the NRL, maybe? I don't know. If you're going to bring in your shots, I'll bring in mine.
Yeah, fair enough.
Allegedly.
But yeah, where were we before I took us down that dark path?
Yeah.
Jamal Fogarty has apparently told the Raiders that he intends to test his open market come November. Not a bad ploy for Fogarty. Halves are something that teams are always looking for, so he could potentially either find himself a new club or get a pay bump from the Raiders. I would like him to stay. Jacko said Arrow's not good with dogs. That's obvious. Yeah. I would like him to stay with the Raiders. I think he's been quite good there.
Yep.
But I don't hold anything against him for trying to make a bit more money if the opportunity is there. It's always a risk. You can go to open market and find out you're not worth what the Raiders are paying you at the moment, and then they can give you a lesser deal. I doubt that will happen, but that is always a risk when you decide to put yourself out there. But what's your take? And if Jamal did leave, who do you think would be a team that would pick him up?
Well, first of all, I hope he stays as well. The Raiders haven't had the best of luck with halfbacks of late, but I think he's done fairly well there as well. So hopefully he gets a nice offer from the Raiders to stay, something that's worthwhile for him. If not, hard to say. Maybe he could be Ben Hunt replacement at St. George.
Yeah. Well, Jacko said doggies. Tanya said tigers. Yeah, doggies, tigers, dragons.
You could say doggies, but then he just ended up with Sexton again, where he was battling with him at the Titans.
Yeah. Titans kind of need a half too. It would be funny to see him go back.
Nah, Ben Hunt's going to go there, mate. You watch.
We'll see. But yeah, we'll get more news about that once we hit November, I guess. We'll see what happens. But next bit of news, former Warrior and now former Eel, Jack Murchie, is on the verge of signing a 3-year deal with the Huddersfield Giants in the Super League. And the Eels have actually officially released him already. So, I always had a little bit of a soft spot for Murch.
Same.
Wouldn't have minded him staying with the Warriors when he did leave. But, hasn't really found that form that we, I guess, kind of expected to happen at the Eels with what the Eels can do with their second rowers that they get from other clubs.
And to be fair, when you look at what we're running with in our back row at the moment, he'd probably be struggling for game time here as well.
Oh yeah. If Curran was struggling, Murchie wouldn't get a look, would he?
No.
But good luck. I'm sure he'll kill it in Super League. And Jacko said Murchie retiring the Super League, good move for him. I think he's the type of player that can do quite well up there, being an NRL player. So I'm sure he'll do great. And Jack Whiten, kind of Rabbitohs news. He's actually contacted the Rabbitohs CEO to assure him that the rumors of him trying to do a backflip on his contract are not true. We kind of talked about it briefly last week because the news broke. And we both kind of agreed that we didn't see it happening. But he's kind of put that to bed. So is that code for he's trying to negotiate? But yeah, what do you think? Do you think that's good that he's kind of settled the nerves of the Rabbits because they've got enough on their plate right now?
Jump on that early. If it's not true, put that fire out. Whiten strikes me as the type of guy that's got some integrity. You know, if he signs a contract, I know he's been a Raiders man the whole time, but I don't think he's the type of bloke if he signs somewhere he's gonna backflip. So hopefully he doesn't prove me wrong.
He's not a Cherry Evans, is what you're saying.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, if it happens, we'll be discussing it obviously when it happens. But yeah, I'm pretty confident he'll stay. Jaden Okunbor from the Bulldogs, he's close to sealing a deal to join Hull FC from next year. So another player leaving to the Super League. Kind of isn't really finding his feet with the Bulldogs and their new regime anyway. So makes sense. And they kind of need to move some players off to fit some more Panthers in anyway. So it makes sense.
Too true.
And yeah, Bulldogs time. That was the start of it. But yeah, there was a rumor that up to 8 players are unhappy at the club and trying to get out of their contracts early. The club's come out and admitted to hearing the report, but said the real number is actually 4, which still doesn't sound great. But there was also more news, Richie, about a player walking out after being punished for being late. Something about having to wrestle 12 of his teammates or something, and he walked out on the club. The club advised that they're actually working through things privately with whatever happened. They don't want to confirm or deny if what the rumors were true. But Coach Ciraldo has stood by his stance with how he's running the club and said they need to fix the culture, and if players are not willing to work hard, they can go elsewhere, which I don't actually disagree with. It's very similar to what happened with the Warriors in the transition of bringing Webby on. There was a big clean out of players, and basically the club said they were getting like people that were there for a paycheck were kind of getting on the outs. The ones that actually wanted to work hard and play for the jersey stayed. So it's kind of the same thing. It's probably something the Dogs should have done in the process of bringing Ciraldo in, but it is what it is. And Jacko said the Dogs have gone backwards this year, and apparently it's all the players' fault, but one must wonder why very good players have lost form badly. Yeah, I think you can't blame a coach for everything that goes wrong, but you can't blame players for everything that goes wrong either. It's a relationship. And yeah, I think there's just, from what I've heard, there's just been a lot of the coaches are trying to drive the intensity at the player instead of the players, where you kind of need players to kind of grab everyone and say, we've got to do this together. And it sounds like there are players at the club that have that high work ethic, but some of the others don't. And it's kind of creating a clash, which I've heard from the Warriors in the past, where you've got some that are a bit more professional than others, and it reflects. So you got to get everyone on the same page if you want to be successful, really.
Yeah. And what Mark's just said there, Potter and Pay had them going better. After they sacked Trent Barrett, Mick Potter had them humming. Yeah, it's funny, what a little bit of environment change can do. But they have had a lot of obstacles this year, injury-wise and whatnot. But I think even since their players have come back, they've still been rubbish. And that's why you're seeing a lot of this nonsense coming out in the media of unhappy players. Like we were just saying with Souths, you don't see this kind of talk coming out of clubs that are performing and doing well. So I hope they get rid of it. You know, I'd like to see the Dogs doing well. But yeah, they look a fair way off it at the moment.
So I know they're not the Warriors, so second coach isn't always the first thing that pops into their heads. But how long into 2024, if things don't look like they're improving, would you think Gould would be looking at potentially sacking another former assistant coach from the Panthers? And yeah, Mark said we got the better coach. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
When it was announced, I may not have had that opinion. I thought Ciraldo would just take this star-studded Bulldogs squad and just run all the way to finals, where I thought Webster might struggle. And, very happy to be wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You say star-studded too, but I think they're lacking a bit in key areas. They don't have a top-tier halfback. So their spine is probably not up there with the top teams, and their depth as well. As soon as they started getting some injuries, they were exposed pretty badly. But
that's what happens when you spend all your money on those Panthers players that aren't halves.
Yeah, I don't know what the magic recipe is though, Brad. Whether it's the players, whether it's the coaching setup, but for they got to give Serraldo a decent enough crack, and they've got Crichton coming next year. I think he's got to see out next year, and then if they've not done well then, and then the following year starts off badly, then review's got to be done.
Yeah, and Tanya just said she watched a video today that a mate shared at Warriors headquarters with Webby George and the MYHR team. It was awesome to get a peek at everything going on inside the Warriors culture. Yeah, from everything I've heard, both on the field and in the offices, everything's just so much better at the Warriors, and they got the right mindset, which that's kind of like what I said with the Bulldogs thing. You've got to have both sides of your club working. We look at Dragons and Tigers. You could have the best players on the planet, but until they fix the office, it's a bit of a disaster. Yeah. So, that's what you got to do. It's been very positive this year with Warriors stuff, which is great after them almost killing us emotionally last year.
Not just last year either.
Oh, yeah, for
last
as long as I can remember.
Actually,
someone sent me a picture before I go into the last one. I'm sidetracking, which I know Paul loves because we're barely into the show yet. Someone sent me a picture of, they do the promo shot for finals with the 8 captains. So the last time the Warriors were in the finals was 2018, and the picture, I know I'm faffing, Paul, let me get to it. They had all the captains from 2018 finals. Tohu is the only player in that photo that's actually still playing. Everyone else is retired.
Did you say he was in the captain's promo? He wasn't our captain then, was he?
No, but he was the one they sent over. Roger was our captain, but they sent Tohu over. I don't know why, but yeah.
It's been that long, I don't remember.
Yeah, there was Cameron Smith, James Maloney, all those types of guys all there.
Wow.
It was just funny. Wow. It was funny to see it and go, that's how long it's been. Last bit of news before we get into signings and injuries. Jacko said Gould's buying top elite players who are not performing, in fact, losing form. Warriors bought good players who have all improved under Webster. Yeah, it's like we said about Roosters. You're buying all the superstars in the world, but it doesn't make a good team. Teams like the Warriors and a few other of those teams have just got grinders that they know they get told what to do and they do it well, and it works. But yeah, last bit of news. NRL have announced that Casey Badger and Belinda Sharp will become the first female referees to officiate a game at NRL level under the single referee system this week. I did have What Games, but I don't have it anymore. I believe it was Titans Bulldogs were one of them. But yeah, I think it's great news. I've seen some people having disparaging comments, having a woman referee and rah-rah, but I think it's great. And it'll be interesting with Casey Badger because we've said some harsh things about Casey. When she's in the bunker, she makes some interesting decisions. But
I was just going to say that, and this has nothing to do with gender, but if her bunker works anything to go by, I'm expecting some Monday apologies from Graham Annesley.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that she improves being out on the pitch instead of being able to look at everything a million times and make the wrong calls. But yeah, it's great to see, and hopefully we see more of it. Because I don't care, man or woman, as long as the referee can actually do the job properly. I'd be happy because we argue about it, or don't argue. We talk about how bad they are so much. So hopefully we see some improvement. So we're going to signings. I've only really got 3. I think there was a few more, but all extensions. So Tanner Boyd is extended with the Titans until 2025. Cameron Murray's staying with the Rabbits until 2028. And the Knights have extended Greg Marju until 2026.
Good, and good.
Yeah, so we've just got a question about who is reffing those games. Titans Bulldogs, I know for sure. I'm just looking at it now. Yeah, so Casey Badger is doing Titans Bulldogs. And the other one is not loading for me because of internet. So while I'm waiting, we'll go into injuries. There were quite a few. So first off, Jerome Luai from Panthers dislocated his shoulder and is going to be out until at least the preliminary finals. That's quite big.
That's big. That's big.
Yeah. So what do you reckon? Do you reckon that's going to cause some issues for the Panthers to get to the preliminary finals?
Mate, I'm seeing it as a bit of an opportunity if we end up playing them week 1 of finals. With Webby as our coach, an ex-Panther, having some intel. When we played them earlier in the year, we did pretty well. I think it was 18-6 from memory. So, and we were in that game most of the game. Panthers scored late. I see it as an opportunity for us. Yeah, he's obviously Nathan Cleary's the big dog, but he adds a lot to them, doesn't he? It's a point of difference from Cleary. He's got that X factor, and he creates a lot for them as well. So,
yeah, I think it's going to be tough for them, but they're just a team you can't rule out.
Never, yeah.
It's hard. Like even if you told me that Luai and Cleary were going to miss the first couple of weeks of finals, I'd still be like, oh, they might still get there. It could be tough, but it is the right time to strike. If the Warriors face them in week 1 or the Storm face them in week 1, it could be the right time to kind of upset the apple cart by giving them a defeat in week 1. Time will tell. Going on, though, to the Warriors, Luke Metcalf injured his hamstring. There hasn't really been an official confirmation, but he has made a comment on social media basically saying that his season's done. Horrible news. I said it to you and Ruin Hammer facetiously in the weekend that in my review last week, I was all for bringing Tamari Martin in and moving Metcalf down. If that had happened, this injury wouldn't have happened, So Webster kind of needs to read my review a bit more sometimes. But sitting there at the game live and when he came off, he was in tears. Yeah. It was heartbreaking. Thankfully, it wasn't the same hamstring that he did earlier in the year. It was the other one. So I'm hoping it means less time. It doesn't sound like it's like surgery requiring or anything like that. So hopefully it means by the time round 1 kicks off, he's at least ready for selection. But it has me a bit worried about him with his hamstrings at his young age already preying at him. He might need to just slow down. I don't know. As someone who's never really tested their hamstrings, you might know a bit better than me. What do you do to stop getting your hamstrings hurt?
I don't know, man. I didn't have that kind of speed either. And I've never really had a lot of problems with my hammies, but I'm just devastated for him. He, he's getting a good run of games there and actually getting some first grade experience. It's obviously devastated for the guy, but at the same time, it's a good chance for Tamari Martin to come back in and might unlock our left side again, which is it's gone cold a bit, and we've been pretty right side dominant. So come finals time, it might add that point of difference. Add a bit more looks for the higher quality teams we're going to be coming up against. But yeah, hopefully he's all right for. Hopefully Luke is all right for selection for Samoa as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think him being out and Tamari coming in increases the Warriors' chance of going all the way. As
Yeah,
sad as that sounds,
yeah,
like you said, it's unlocking that left. I think I did discuss it off air with you, that a lot of people have been talking about Marcelo Montoya's drop in form, and his drop in form has been basically from the moment he got Luke as his left side half. And I'm not. It's just early days for Luke, and I can't confirm, but I think he's basically been told by the coaching staff, when you get the ball, just pin your ears back and go. Use that speed instead of feeding your outside straight away. So I can't put it all on him, but he's a hell of a talent, and I think the more he grows, the better he's going to be for the club. So I think Jacko said that he got glowing praise from Webster. And Tanya said she's grateful Tamari's back. It really works out perfectly. Team M's experience with Paramite for our finals. And Jagger said his only worry for Team Tem is match fitness, which is why I said bring him back last week, so he had 2 games under his belt before finals. But what do
I
I
think
know?
he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine.
He looked good in New South Wales Cup. I know it's a big step down, but I thought he played quite well. So
I remember him coming back for Brisbane last year in his comeback, and he was pretty much good right from the get-go. So
yeah,
I'm hoping we see a bit of that.
fingers crossed. And last worry before we get into other clubs, Tohu Harris has back spasms, and he's out this week. He would have been rested anyway. But they are saying he could miss week 1 of finals. But I saw an interview with Andrew Webster, and he basically said he's pretty confident he's playing week 1.
Yeah.
Said that it's the back spasms it's not that big of an issue, and it's really something it stiffens up on planes and stuff. But it's just because he's old,
He's
old
battered,
and
mate. He's a warhorse.
He's wrapped head and toe in bloody strapping tape every week, so he's held together by very little. So he needed a break. I think we've been asking for him to have a break at some point for a while. So yeah, fingers crossed he's good for week 1. And then Josh Papali'i from the Raiders gone for the season. He had a surgery on a bicep injury. Big loss for them if I'm pretty confident they're going to remain in the 8, so they'll be in finals. So a big loss for them. And Kalen Ponga for the Knights is out with a shoulder injury, but should be ready for finals week 1.
Yep.
But yeah, some big injuries there from some big boppers.
Yeah.
Naughty boy corner. Got a couple this week.
Some good ones this week.
Good one. So Corey Horsburgh from the Raiders, he's got 4 weeks for a grade 1 shoulder charge.
I didn't agree with that one.
I didn't agree with it either. He tried to fight it and it didn't work. So yeah, he's done for the year, unless the Raiders can go deep.
Yeah.
And then Jared Warrior-Hargreaves from the Roosters, he got 2 on here. So he got a grade 2 dangerous contact, which he tried to dispute the charge and failed. So he got 4 matches for that. And then he also got 3 matches for grade 1 striking. So he's got 7 match ban.
Hard to argue with those ones.
Very hard. Even with how I am on the show, kind of defend all the thug stuff. You can't argue. Just a complete brain snap from the guy. So he's not going to Vegas.
Yeah.
He gets to watch his team in Vegas. They'll probably take him along anyway to enjoy the festivities.
I was going to say, it sounds like safe not taking him to Vegas.
Yeah. He's him and Radley, when they see that red mist, they can't help themselves. And that was pretty dumb, to be fair. Right on the... I mean, they're fighting for their season, and now they've got to do it with one of their biggest players.
I mean, Jacko said Hargreaves is a front thrower, so inspected brain explosion.
Great call, Jacko.
It's a low blow. Smartest men on the pitch are the front rowers, I have you know. But the Broncos, they've lost Katoni Staggs for 1 match for a grade 2 dangerous contact. And Josh Kerr is going to miss this week's game for the Dolphins for a grade 2 dangerous contact as well. So they're not that bad. I have a feeling Staggs probably would have been rested this week anyway. So he's just getting punished for it. And Josh Kerr...
Yeah,
I didn't think there was much in either, but
I didn't like what Katoni did. It was dropping an elbow on someone. Yeah, I don't think he made a lot of contact. So yeah, but didn't look the best.
No. So yeah, only those ones. So we may as well jump into the round now, since we're at 35 minutes. We're tracking nicely for Paul.
No. We're going to have a quick mini quiz.
Not an impromptu quiz.
Nothing like showing our lack of knowledge.
Yeah, you can expose us.
Only one team this season has not been in the top 8. Who was it?
Oh,
Tigers.
Correct. The Tigers are the only team not to have been in the top 8. Every other team.
The
Dragons were in the top 8. That was
an easy one.
On week 2.
Oh, yeah, that's because Dragons had a bye round 1.
That's right. And then they won their first game of the season as well. Yeah. Which is the only team to have been in the top 8 every single round?
Broncos.
Warriors.
Oh, Brad's on fire.
We
Warriors were out one round.
We dropped
to 11th in one round.
I just didn't want to say Broncos because I hate
round 10. The Warriors missed out. Yep. 4 teams have been number 1 in the table. Can you name those 4 teams?
Broncos,
Panthers,
Warriors, Rabbits. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Rabbits. Yep. Warriors. No, Warriors.
Not Warriors. Warriors. Have we not hit number 1 this year?
Not this year.
Yeah, it's Panthers, Broncos, Rabbits,
Sharks,
Dolphins.
No.
Dolphins. Yeah. No.
I don't know. I don't know the 4th one. Sorry, Paul.
The Sea Eagles. They were top round. First 2 rounds.
They had a good start. They did too.
Of the season. So yeah, no, just thought a fun little quiz there for you guys as to some of the fun things from the table this season.
See, now the only reason I knew the Broncos won, Paul, was because I visit every Tuesday. I go and see my grandmother, and she misremembers how the NRL season goes because she's old. And we were talking about. She was asking me about the switching in the top 4. What could happen this week? And she said, like, the Broncos, they've kind of come out of nowhere. They kind of were rubbish at the start of the year. So I had to go through and give her each round where they and the Warriors were on the ladder. So that's how I know the Broncos always stayed in the 8. But yeah, it was interesting. Stupid things I do in my spare time. So we'll go into the round now after Paul distracted us. Round 26, starting with the Eels once again defeating the Panthers 32-18.
Yeah, don't they love playing the Panthers during regular season? We didn't pick it, but 6 tries to 4. Micah Sevo grabbing 4 and Gutherson grabbing 2. 4 tries to the Panthers, Tyrone Peachy, Nathan Cleary, Liam Martin, Tom Jenkins.
Yeah, I was tempted to pick them last week because I was going to be a dick and say, the Eels always beat Panthers in regular season, but I was trying to beat Simon in the tips. So I was like, no, of course Panthers are going to win 2 weeks away from finals. They're switched on. Yeah, regret that. Would have been nice. But yeah, the Eels just love beating the Panthers in regular season matchups. They can't seem to do it in finals, but yeah, I thought their attack was on point. They kept the pressure on for the majority of the match. And they're a hard team to beat when they play like this. They just struggle to keep this up week to week. But very impressive in this match, I thought. What were your thoughts on the Eels?
Yeah, I thought so too. I don't know what it is about this fixture, but the Eels just seem to get up for it of late. Yeah, I thought they were really good, really dangerous throughout. If you're an Eels fan, you'll be left thinking, where's this been all season? It's the Eels, though, Past few years, very inconsistent.
Yeah, but they have the best record against Panthers.
They do.
I think.
Strange.
I think the only games they lose are finals ones against them. So
yeah,
they're the ones you'd rather win. But yeah, your take on the Panthers?
I mean, it's a massive result in terms of the minor premiership race. I mean, they still might get it. But like we were talking about earlier, I don't think it really matters to them. the biggest thing is the injury to Luai, who's one of their key players. And I feel like the other top teams may fancy their chances against a weakened Panthers side come finals time. If there's any time to get them, might be now.
Yeah, Panthers they made the decision to rest some players, and then with that early exit of Luai, I thought they just played it a bit too cute. They were under the pump right from the start. Couldn't get out of the hole they dug. Just wasn't a good performance from them. But you'd be a fool to write them off after this anyway. They always become a different team once they're in finals. So yeah, great for the Panthers to lose and make it a bit more exciting for the positioning of the top four come the end of this weekend. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But your player to stand out.
I'm just going to cheat and put the four-try hero, Mike Acevo. Not quite a Francis Melly, but four against the Panthers is doing all right.
Yeah, I'll go with the other try scorer. I'll go with King Gutho. I thought he was great out there. Sevo, it was probably his best game in like forever. But I thought Gutho kind of was really probing the weaknesses in the Panthers' defensive line, which
He's a competitor.
We don't see a lot of people do. He's never going to be in conversation for like one of the best players on the planet. I don't think he is that great skill-wise compared to the other stars, but he backs everything up with just determination. He just looks like an unco battler, but yeah, love it. And yeah, Paul said it's the first loss for the Panthers since June 16th against the Cowboys. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
And they're still a team that lost to the Tigers. So I'll keep going on about that all year. We'll go to the first game on Friday, Richie. Warriors defeating the Dragons 18-6.
Easy on the scoring list here. Pompey, Charms, and Adden for the Warriors. Zach Lomax for the Dragons.
Yeah, another scratchy win. But I thought the Warriors actually controlled the match for the most part. They made far too many errors, which reduced their scoring opportunities, including that one where Whenua Blake had a easiest try in the world and just didn't plant it properly. But I thought their defense improved. We talked about it last week. We had a few concerns. They only let the Dragons have one line break. Compared to the week before, the Dragons had 5 line breaks against the Storm. So that is a good improvement, but they'll need they've got a lot of work to do after resting their players this week if they want to have an impact on finals, in my opinion. It could all be a Webster ploy that we just haven't seen yet. Mikey's kind of saying that. The boys are definitely holding back something.
I hope so.
It could all be just this master play from Webster where they're playing reserved to kind of not expose everything. I don't know. It's the hopefulness of a Warriors fan here. But your take on the Warriors?
Yeah, another game, another great crowd, and another victory.
Biggest crowd of the year.
Mate, I was going to say I'll ask your opinion on that after I break this down, because the theatrics seem to go to another level. We're doing our home games so well this year, and I can see Wavering keeps coming back. It's theatre. It's a massive show. But yeah, the win wasn't comprehensive, but important that it seals the top 4 for us, and it does come at a cost with Metcalf pulling up injured. And I'll double down on what I said earlier. It could open up our left-hand attack with Te Maire Martin coming back in, and our defense was improved this week, so I was happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, what, you want to talk now about the crowd? Or
yeah, go on. I mean, what was it like being there? It looked amazing and sounded amazing on the TV.
Yeah, and Paul's just brought up Warriors 6 losses in the opening 13 rounds and only 1 loss in the last 13. Yeah, we always said that first 10 round stretch was the hardest part for the Warriors this year, and they did quite well through it. I think they ended 5-5. But yeah, the crowd, it was the biggest crowd for the year for them. I think it was just a tad over 25,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, the work they've been doing, the Warriors staff on game day, has they've taken it up a notch. They've really put some effort in after all those years away. You know, you got that big entrance the Warriors do now with the lights
It's
off.
amazing.
And,
Amazing.
I think is it Alien Nation, I think is the song they use. I don't know if you can hear the song on the field.
Yeah, Alien Weaponry.
Alien Weaponry, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so cool.
And all that. And then, like, you don't see it on TV. But, yeah, and Jacko said, Ben Hunt said the noise was like Origin games. That's what they all say. Brent Tate used to say you'd get 10,000 at Mount Smart, and it sounded like 30,000 at Suncorp. But yeah, at halftime, you wouldn't have seen it on TV, but they like turned all the lights off again. I think they're just trying to save money on power. They just keep turning the lights off whenever they can. But they did like a fireworks display, which
they showed it, mate. It was amazing.
They showed it, yeah. My partner, she really enjoyed that for some reason. But yeah, it's just great what they've been doing, and I'm sure they've got some good ideas for the finals game they get to play at home. So looking forward to that. So yeah, fantastic. But yeah, we're segueing away as we always do. Dragons, your thoughts on the worst team in the NRL?
Yeah, their big plan for the home final was playing it at Eden Park.
It's not
hopefully
I'll be
not.
picketing outside Mount Smart.
Yeah, I thought that another fighting effort from the Dragons. They do seem to have moments that prevent them from picking up the wins, though, in each of these games, despite the fight. This week, it can almost just show Tyrell Sloan's highlights or lowlights. Going to pick up a ball in the end goal and leaving it behind. His defensive efforts on Chance's try and a couple of our tries, actually, where we just strolled right past him. Pompey, I think. So, tough for the Dragons because, you know, they fought hard, but they're not getting the results.
Yeah, Sloan's got a lot of talent. He's just got to work on those schoolboy stuff. Like, I'm sure they're going to show him that video a lot of him leaving that ball and letting a front rower dive on it. You know, but yeah, Jacko said the interim coach at the Dragons done a very good job. Yeah, he has. I know I bag on them a lot. I think he's done a good job trying to keep this leaky boat afloat. But yeah, they almost had a dream start with that try in the opening seconds. So I was there live when that happened. The only emotion I had was laughter. I was cracking up because I've never seen anything like that.
Mine was swear words.
Yeah, that came too. But yeah, it was just like I can't even be mad. That's just crazy. Thankfully, it was denied. But yeah, the Dragons, they just struggled to get through the Warriors' defense. Did well to shut down the Warriors' right edge though. They managed to keep Dallin quite quiet. They were kind of rushing in and crowding. Not just like the default is always to crowd Sean, but then Sean, you know, can put a step on and cause you trouble. So they were kind of putting more pressure on Nakora, which is where we saw a lot of those errors when they were getting up close. He was dropping the ball left, right, and center. But yeah, I didn't think they had a chance of winning. They never looked like they were going to get themselves into the match and cause an upset. But 1 week left for them this week. They got a tough game against a rampaging Knights. But yeah, I'm looking forward to not having to talk about them for a bit after next week. So it'll be good. Your player to stand out, I think we both picked the same.
Yeah, Chance, I thought in a team which was struggling a wee bit, you know, he still stood up. He was fantastic. Got a nice try. Hit the Cristiano Ronaldo celebration, which was funny. No, he was really, really good.
Yeah, I picked him too. He just works. You know, I know I feel like for the rest of the time, there's always going to be the Walsh C&K comparison due to the fact that they're the last two Warriors fullbacks. But what he lacks in that flash that Walsh has, he just has work ethic and he gets in there. He does those tough carries that they need him for. He defends well. He plays that link man when he needs to. He's not all about being the superstar scoring tries himself. Yeah, just gets in there and does all the hard work. And I love it. I love a battler. So yeah, it's been a great year for Chance, and I'm hoping it only gets better for him in the next couple of weeks. Final game on Friday, Cowboys defeating the Dolphins 34-10.
6-2 here for the Cowboys. Zach Labart with 2, Kyle Felt, Scotty Drinkwater, Murray Taulagi, and Peter Hiku. 2 tries for the Dolphins, both to Jermaine Isako.
But yeah, Isako, he's ruining my bets. But a much needed win for the Cowboys. Here, they're keeping their finals chances slightly alive. They looked good on attack, solid on defense. It was kind of hard to point out any issues I had with their performance. They need at least one more match like this. If they can play like this against the Panthers, they might have a chance of scraping into the 8. But your chance on your thoughts on Cowboys?
I thought they were very dominant in this one, and it keeps them in the hunt. But I feel like they're another quality team this year that should be a top team, but they may live to regret a pretty tough patch in their season, much like Parramatta. Wouldn't it be weird to see 2 of the top teams from last year, Cowboys and Parramatta, miss out? Possibly even teams like
Rabbits.
Yeah,
and Paul's got the stats.
Crazy.
Cowboys 8 losses in the opening 13 rounds, and then 3 in the last 13. Yeah, I think that poor start they're gonna rue that potentially. But yeah, if they perform, and then you see Dolphins the opposite, 7 wins in the opening 13 and only 1 in the last 13. Yeah. So your thoughts on the Dolphins?
I feel for them, but we all wondered what would happen once their squad faced the pressures of injury and suspension, and unfortunately the depth just isn't there this year. I'm hoping next year the situation should improve for them with the quality of players they got coming in. But yeah, obviously, like Paul's just put there, amazing start, but definitely tapered off once the going got tough squad wise.
Yeah, and that only winning against the in the last 13 was the Golden Point win against the Titans. So even that one was close.
Yeah.
They've just run out of puff. I think I've been saying that for like the past month. It feels like could have been a dark day for them if not for the talent of Isako, giving the home crowd something to cheer about in the final 20. A tough year that started with promise, as we just talked about. Only 1 game left before they can turn their attention to improving in 2024. They will be tough this week for the Warriors. They won't want to end their season on a loss at home. But yeah, it's all just a learning year. No one, I think, expected them to be a finals team in their first year. They've learned as a team, got some new talent coming in. I think they'll be aiming for better things next year, and hopefully we see it. They're not a team I dislike yet, so
yeah,
we'll see. And yeah, Jacko said Cows are 1 pass away from the 2022 grand final, now struggling to make the 8. Yeah, it's a tough beast, the NRL, man. You can be the bell of the ball 1 year and then out the back the next. So your player to stand out,
Scotty. I feel like whenever you see a nice big win from the Cowboys, a lot of it's revolving around him.
It's kind of like the Hines thing with Sharks, right? When the Sharks have a good game, you usually automatically go to Hines, and I feel with the Cowboys, you always go to Drinky. He was the key in their attack.
He absolutely is.
Yeah. Next game might not take us long to go through. Storm defeating the Titans 37-16.
6-3 here for the Storm. Will Warbrick, Xavier Coates with a hat trick, Christian Welch, Ali Katoa, loving what he's doing. 3 tries to the Titans, Chris Randall, Brian Kelly, Jojo Fafita.
Yeah, an improved effort from the Storm here after cutting it close to the Dragons last week. We're able to pile on the pressure and execute some slick attacking sets. Will Warbrick's just growing into such a great player this year for them. Another finals threat that looks ready to peak at the right time, which has me concerned. But good to see Brian Pappenhausen make his return as well after being out forever. So yeah, thought it was like the perfect type of match you want a couple of weeks out from finals. But what was your take on the Storm?
Yeah, I thought it was a decent win, while not being massively convincing, and probably wouldn't fill me with a lot of fear if I'm the Panthers or Broncos. They did pull away in the end. They scored 3 tries in the last 20, so little Pappenhausen. Great to see him back, and he could be a wild card for them if he manages to find some of his old form relatively quickly. He's come back from a horror injury, but if he finds some form, that could really help them.
Yeah. And your Titans thoughts?
Just pretty typical Titans performance, really. Not overly resilient on defense, which is kind of their trademark for the past couple of seasons. So another season of what ifs for them.
Yeah, I basically said the same old Titans. They can do great things with ball in hand, but they can't defend if their life depended on it. They missed 43 tackles here, not the worst out of all the teams that played this round. But yeah, if they can fix that in the offseason, I think they're a decent shot of playing finals next year. That's their only issue, is they can't defend. Your player to stand out?
I put Coates because he got a hat trick, but I know where you're going, Brad, and I kind of agree with Jacko Katoa. Man,
yeah.
Watching him play for them makes me think, what if we could have unlocked that here at the Warriors? I've always felt like he's going to be a weapon, and he's got all the attributes to be a weapon. So I named my player that stood out and pretty much gassed on about yours. So
so I went with Katoa. Yeah, he's done exactly what I was expecting him to do when he moved to the Storm.
Yeah.
You could see the talent there when he was with the Warriors. It just, something wasn't clicking. And as sad as, I loved him. He was one of my favorites. As sad as it was to see him go, knowing that he could go, it wasn't going to be a situation where he left the Warriors and then a merch situation where 6 months after leaving the club, he gets released and goes to England. He always had the talent to do something special. So I love seeing it. And he's really clicked into gear.
Yeah, if you expect the Titans to do something next year, they've got to sort out the kind of the end of the season. They've had one win out of their last 9 games. They really have collapsed. They've run out of steam. Don't know if that's squad depth or what it is, but they've collapsed at the end of the season.
They just don't know how to tackle. I think they're scared of tackling. They run away from the tackle bags at training. They
did lose a couple of really razor close matches as well, which almost came down to refereeing decisions. When you remember the offside penalties, I think they got back-to-back 2 weeks in a row. They got dudded. But yeah, I still think they're not quite at the stage where they're going to fire a shot.
Yeah, and Troy said, are the Storm just staying low-key, waiting to put their A-team to be on and hopefully come through to the finals? Is that them, and will it work in the finals? I think that's what they're doing. Bellamy's a master at, knowing when to get his team switched on. So it's a bit like the Panthers. The Panthers could lose the final round of the year, and then they're going to be like the best team in finals the next week. I feel like the Storm will be the same. Once you click into gear and everyone's on the same page, finals footy, they're going to be tough.
What's the lesser of two evils for you if the Storm ended up in the grand final against the Panthers? Gun to the head, who you supporting?
Storm, because Katoa plays for the Storm.
Yeah, nice. Good answer.
But I'd rather the Warriors play the Storm in the final, because the Storm don't know how to beat the Warriors in finals footy.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd go with that. But yeah, next game, Saturday.
So how many games is that bet based on?
That's beside the point, Paul. It's beside the point. Roosters defeated the Tigers 32-8.
32-8, yeah. 5 tries to 1. Sam Walker, Daniel Tupou, Terrell May, Joey Suali'i, and Victor Radley for the Roosters. Tristan Riley for the Tigers.
Yeah, nice performance from the Roosters here. Joey Manu's not a bad backup fullback. And they were just too strong for the struggling Tigers. We already talked about Jared souring the match with his poor discipline. But they stayed in the hunt for the finals, which is all they should be focused on right now anyway. But your take on the Roosters?
I thought one of the better Roosters performances of the year, and it keeps them in the hunt. The only negatives to come out of the game for them, Joey Manu injury and the brain farts from Big Jared, when their season's on the line, and now
they said Manu's going to be sweet. I think
good.
He's even been named this week.
So. Okay, that's one thing then. But Jared, I don't know what he's thinking, man. Clearly wasn't.
He wanted an early holiday, mate. He's done. He's old. At his age now, he can't play a whole year.
Yeah, Bali seemed good. Yeah.
Yeah, and your thought on the poor old Tigers?
Yeah, not their best night at the office. Probably say that most weeks. I thought they might put up more of a fight, though. Hopefully next year we see something from them, and Benji manages to do something, because I guess there's only one way to go when you're the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, they just lacked the firepower in this match, and they couldn't keep up. Another team that's had a rough year, but at least it's almost over. I love the Tigers. I really feel for them and the struggles they go through. But your player to stand out.
I put Sam Walker coming back. I thought Hutchison was doing quite a good job there, but Sam Walker coming back, scored a brilliant try where he ran through number of players. So it's nice to see him come back after a tough season. He's been having a pretty tough season. Yeah,
I went with the Wallabies next big thing, Swali. Thought he was dangerous here. He actually looked like he wanted to play footy again. Yeah. He was breaking the line, accurate at the kicking tee. Just a good night out for him after what's been a pretty shocking year for him.
For the whole team, really.
For the whole team, yeah. Next game on Saturday, Broncos defeating the Raiders 29-18.
6 tries to 3. Selwyn Cobbo with a hat trick, another winger that picked up multiples this week. Tony Staggs, Ezra Mam, Reece Walsh, 3 tries for the Raiders. Matt Frawley, Nick Kotrick, Hudson Young.
Yeah, Broncos look dangerous here with some lethal attack, which is what we expect from them. However, I thought they were actually lucky to walk away with this win with a lot of questionable calls going their way. But that's the perk of being a top 4 team, unfortunately. We get to see that too now as a top 4 team. But this win's made their chances of winning the minor premiership a bit bigger. They did what they needed to do to get the win. So very solid. But your thoughts on the Bronx?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty messy from them. They didn't complete their sets at a very high rate.
They play that high risk, high reward type of footy.
They do indeed. And they were without Reynolds and Carrigan, but there was still more than enough in terms of individual brilliance to get them the result, which helps their hopes of picking up the minor premiership. Yeah,
and your thought on the Raiders?
They showed good fight. They were trying their best to get the win for Croker and Whiten's last home game at GIO Stadium. They scored some really nice tries and were close, but not to be.
Yeah, they were in this match, and I already mentioned those poor calls, but they refused to back down. They just struggled to tighten up their defensive structure, and you can't afford to do that against a live wire team like the Broncos. Like Paul just mentioned, Raiders 4 losses in the last 6 games. And Jacko's just said, Walter's come out saying Bronx the best team of the comp. Well, those that laughed the loudest. Yeah, I couldn't say the Broncos are the best team. They're up there, but I think if I'd still have Panthers as the top team right now. I don't know. It just that could be just bias of the last 4 years of the Panthers being one of the top 2 teams. But your player to stand out. I think we picked the same guy.
Yeah, to put Walsh. Pains me to say it. He was brilliant though, mate. Try assist, line breaks, just runs where he's just tearing through. Scored a brilliant try. Nearly injured his knee, or he did injure his knee doing it. Field goal, put the game further out of reach. He really did it all and stepped up in the absence of Reynolds. It wasn't all good. Defense,
No.
like what he
He
does, what he does is brilliant, and luckily for him, it outweighed his defense, which we know isn't the greatest. But Hudson Young went straight past him when he scored. Nick Kotrick ran over the top of him and scored. We know he can't tackle, but this year he's more than making up for what he does with the ball.
I think we did. Yeah, I picked Walsh as well, but I think we discussed it during the game where I said like the difference between like you don't hear as much about Walsh's defense this year compared to last year. The difference is the Broncos' frontline defense is so much better than what the Warriors' defense was last year that he was always having to clean up the Warriors' mess, where he doesn't have to do that as much for the Broncos. So you don't see it as much. But in finals, anyone that gets through that line and it's like a one-on-one with Walsh, you almost guaranteed points.
Right.
And yeah, Jacko almost took the words out of my mouth.
We have to talk about it.
You forgot to mention Walsh, not only all those tries, field goals, and that, he was also involved in the NRL tackle of the week.
Make it tackle of the year.
With Joseph Tapine breaking him apart. And nothing malicious. Walsh just forgot that the game doesn't always revolve around him. So when he's standing around thinking no one will touch him, you let a front rower spy a quick halfback with a big shot that they know they're not always going to be able to hit. They're going to take it. Great hit.
So good.
It was the highlight of the match for me. But yeah, moving on to Sunday's game. This one we could probably go through quite quickly. Manly defeating the Bulldogs 42-24.
Quite quickly. Is that a bit of a joke there, Brad?
Yeah, we can. I'm just looking at my notes and going, oh no, there's a lot of notes.
7 tries to 4.
Neither team's making the finals. Who gives up?
Yeah, that's what we should be saying, but let's do it quickly. 7 tries for Manly. Jason Saab with 2. Toff Sipley, Raymond Tuimalovaenga, Haumole Alakuatu, Deli Cherry Evans, Lachlan Croker. Most of the time it's going to be spent reading the Manly players' names. 4 tries for the Dogs, Corey Waddell, Jake Averillo, Kyle Flanagan, Toby Sexton.
Yeah, big effort from Manly. Nothing to play for anymore, but they put on a show. Tack was on point, scoring consistently. A few more games like this and this season may have ended very differently. And before I move to you, shout out to DCE for giving the man with the coolest name his first points in the NRL with Gordon Chan Kun Tong kicking a penalty in the dying stages. Thought it was great. Your thoughts on Manly?
Oh, I have a really bad taste joke about that penalty shot. No, I'm going to leave that, though. Not on air. I'll tell you later, Brad. Yeah, nice performance from Manly. They look really dangerous. I really like the look of Kohler at fullback with his speed, creating lots of chances. Maybe that's an option they could look to in future if and when Tommy Turbo gets injured. But yeah, thought they were good.
And Doggies?
Yeah, to forget. And the stories in the media suggest not all is well at the club. We've already gone all over that. Yeah, they bring on next year for them.
Yeah, repeat what I've been saying about the Doggies for a while. Just too much talent to be this bad. A few nice tries, but lackluster defense. Some players look like they're already thinking about Mad Monday. Your player to stand out?
Kohler.
Well, I went with DCE.
Yeah, both really good.
Yeah. Last game, Knights defeating the Sharks 32-6.
6 tries to 1. Kalen Ponga, Bradman Best with 2. Dom Young, Greg Marju, Dylan Lucas. 1 try for the Sharks, Connor Tracy.
Yeah, Knights train just keeps steaming on. They never looked in doubt and looked like they could almost score at will here. We're defensively sound as well, and it was a near-perfect performance. Amazing turnaround from this club, and a team I am actually genuinely worried about in finals. But your thoughts on the Knights?
Very similar. Another massive display from them. I know the Sharks were missing Hines, but I doubt he would have made that much of a difference. The Knights are looking like a team I would want to be avoiding come finals time.
Yeah, same thing as I said. Yeah. And Sharks.
Yeah, really disappointing from them. Granted, they were missing their best player. I still feel like they're a dangerous side at full capacity and when on form. but I don't feel like I'm watching a potential title winner when I watch them.
Yeah, they had a shocker here. Without Hines, they lacked direction on attack, and they were just woeful on defense. This was the team I was about to talk about. They missed 61 tackles in this game, which I think may be a record. I'm not sure. I was trying to find the stats, but I couldn't find it. But if it's not a record, it's bloody close. Not a performance you want to have just before finals, and they've got a lot of work to do. And Paul's going to come with stats now.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, look, they're a rocks or diamonds team, right?
Yeah.
Lost by 26, won by 20, won by 30, won by 10, lost by 28. That's their last 5 games. It's either a big win or a big loss. It either goes right for them or it's an absolute disaster.
Yeah, you're on the money. Yeah.
And they still don't know how to beat top 8 teams most of the time. But I think we picked the same guy for player of the game.
Oh, no. He's killing it. Absolutely killing it.
Unfortunate that he got injured, but he was a standout here, as he's been since they made the right decision and put him back in fullback.
Where he should be?
Yeah, where he should be. But yeah, so that was round 26. So I don't know. We'll let Paul decide if he's going to show us.
Look, you guys are under warning for next week. For games that don't matter, this is what you're going to be getting.
Every game's going to matter because everyone's playing their second string teams. So every game's vital. You get to enjoy it in finals when we've got less games. But do you have the pictures I sent you, Paul? He's just looking, I think, with the ladder or the tips, whichever one you want to bring up first. Here it is. All right, and yes, Paul did the multi. We got the multi right. I gave him all the picks we did last week. He forgot to enter the first one, which actually saved us because the first one we all picked the Panthers.
No, the first had been played by the time I got around to raising it, and that's why he missed the first one.
Yeah, so we got another multi. So congrats us. I got another multi too because I rage quit my first multi when the Panthers lost and put another one in for the remaining 7 games. So
we did a reverse cash out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's the tips. We have a new leader officially, which is me. Looking at what Simon's put through for the tips, we're different. So there's definitely going to be an outright winner next week, which is the official last time for the tips before finals. But yeah, I only got 1 wrong with those bloody Panthers. So I've got 7 from 8 for 130 out of 196. Simon got 6 out of 8 and is 1 point behind on 129 out of 196. And Richard, you only got 1 wrong last week, so you're still climbing back.
Mate, I
123.
I found form at the too late, really. I think I've gone 7 from 8 or close to the past few weeks.
Yeah,
Richie's a finals guy. He's waiting for the real game to start.
The business end.
Yeah. So that's the tips, and now we've got the ladder. Really, not a lot of changes, but I'll let you do the top 8.
Okay. I thought I'd do it. Okay, I'll do it. You just wanted to hear me say Broncos have gone to number 1.
Yeah, and look at what Paul's doing where he's zooming in for you guys. Apologies last week for not knowing how to do that.
Broncos have gone up to 1. Panthers dropped to 2. Warriors and Melbourne stay where they were, 3 and 4. Knights have climbed up to 5th. How good are they going? Yeah. Cronulla and Canberra dropped to 6th and 7th. And the Rabbitohs are hanging tough at 8, courtesy of their bye.
Yeah, and then the bottom 9 are exactly the same as they were last week. So we've got Cowboys at 9th, Roosters 10th, Eels 11th, Manly 12th, Titans 13th, Dolphins 14th, Bulldogs 15th, Dragons 16th, and Tigers 17th. And the only teams that are still a chance to make finals are the top 8, obviously, and the Cowboys and Roosters now. So Parramatta, Parramatta, I don't think will make it. They'll get the 2 points for the bye this week, but their points differential would rule them out anyway, I believe.
Yeah.
So unless with the other 3 all on the same points, I don't think they can get in at all.
No, they're done.
Yeah. So interesting ladder to see so many people kind of set in their place. I think this week the only being top 4. Panthers could go up to 1st, Broncos could come to 2nd, and the Warriors and Storm could switch depending on results. But they're the top 4 that we'll have for finals anyway. So before we go into questions, you got something to say, Richie, first?
I was just going to say, what do you want to happen? Do you want the Cowboys to beat the Panthers? Who are you wanting to miss out of Rabbitohs?
I want the Rabbits to miss out because I have a bet on them missing the finals.
Right. So
complete selfish reasons. I don't care who else makes it as long as they fall out. If the Sharks could fall out somehow, it would have been good because I also had a bet on them not making finals.
I can't see it in that picture. What's North Queensland and Roosters points differential? Look at me milking this show for all it's worth.
Yeah.
Whose points differential?
Cowboys, Roosters.
So the Cowboys are 36 plus 36. Roosters are minus 38.
Yeah, I knew the Roosters was pretty poor. Okay.
But see, if the Cowboys and Roosters, both win and the Raiders lose, there is actually a chance the Raiders could drop out because of their points differential, because they're on 32 points.
Yeah, wow. The Raiders can drop out because they're on minus 119.
Cover your ears, Simon. Cover your ears.
And the Eels will go to 30 points, but they've only got a 13 points differential, so they don't have a chance.
So a lot of big games this weekend.
A lot of big games. But yeah, Rabbits do have that points differential helping them out. But yeah, time will tell. So before we move into questions,
at the end of the day, the Rabbits, because the Rabbits are playing the Roosters, it's a winner take all. Who cares about points differential?
Yeah.
So NRLW round 6 results. Before we go into questions, Eels defeated the Cowboys 16-12. Dragons lost to the Titans 23-22. Roosters defeated the Tigers 48-10. Broncos defeated the Raiders 40-8, and Knights defeated the Sharks 22-14. So good to see my girl Millie still going strong. So questions. Do we have any questions from the crowd that we didn't get to yet, Paul?
We did. I did have one more quiz on a question on the quiz I forgot to ask. 3 teams have been bottom of the table. Who are the 3?
Tigers,
Dragons, Cowboys.
Bulldogs?
The Bulldogs on round 1. Yep.
There you go. I got one.
I mean, the Knights for me, the Knights one is amazing. They were top 8 in round 6 and then haven't been top 8 again until round 23. I mean, they really have timed this run very, very well.
Yeah.
Questions from the live chat. Jacko, are there any rumors of Warriors signings? Anyone outside of the club?
Not that I've heard of.
Not that I heard. I think they've pretty much got their squad for next year already sewn up. I think they've already got like their 29 or 30 players. So yeah, not that I've heard.
So there we go. And Tanya had a quiz question. I don't know if we know the answer, but what player or players out of our starting 17 all year has not scored a try?
I can tell you this. Hold on. I'm going to cheat though. But
you're cheating. You're Googling as we speak.
I'm not Googling. I've got an Excel spreadsheet of all the try scorers for every game for the Warriors this year for my reviews.
You absolute league nerd.
So in our whole squad, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 players that haven't scored. Ali Laatawa, Braden Willemy, Freddie Lussick, Tane Tuapiki, Tamari Martin, and Valingi Kipu.
They haven't really been in our starting 17 all year, though,
but
have they?
Tamari Martin would be the main one out of that lot.
Yeah, and he's been injured most of the year.
Yeah. And, yeah, of course, Dallin, 21 tries at the top, followed by Marcelo Montoya, Sean Johnson, and AFB, all on 8.
And did you manage to find out who the ladies are?
It was the Titans-Bulldogs game is Casey Badger. I couldn't find who Belinda was playing or reffing, sorry. They did a whole article talking about it, but they didn't say what her game was, naturally.
Great reporting there. And Jack was saying he was hoping that the Warriors have a crack at Big Shipley.
I would have loved.
Yeah, bring him home.
I would have loved. Oh, okay. So Belinda Sharp is reffing the Sea Eagles Tigers game.
There we go.
I would have loved Toff to come back.
Oh yeah, he's playing well as well for Manly when he's on. Yeah, I'd love him back.
And yeah, Nicholas said he feels that Rue would have told us all that information without needing a spreadsheet.
He would have.
He's a
His
different
brain is a
beast.
spreadsheet. His brain is a spreadsheet. That guy.
Yeah. I have to write our notes for this show. I have to write my review. There's a lot of other stuff I use my brain for.
And by the way, folks, I didn't spend a lot of time on that quiz. There's a table on Wikipedia, and I saw it and thought, oh, they're kind of cool questions. So yeah,
you have so much. You got so much time on your hands falling asleep behind the wheel when we start rambling about crap anyway. So you have all that time. So were there any other questions?
As we're running on time, do you want to ask each other your questions?
Yeah. We'll go with your one first.
All right. Webby's resting a lot of our top guns this weekend. He's chosen Dylan Walker at 13 and captain. Tohu is said to be struggling with a sore back. If unavailable for selection in week 1 of finals, would Dylan Walker retain both of those roles for you? With all our other players back on deck?
I think if Tohu's not available, I'd probably keep him at 13 if that's the route they're going. He's probably the closest in terms of that short ball game that Tohu brings. In terms of captaincy, I probably wouldn't. I think I would be going back to either AFB or Egan if they're available. I would keep him at 13, but give the captaincy to one of the other two. It's just a crazy world we live in where Adam Fanua-Blake and Dylan Walker are considered captain material when you think of what they were like a few years ago.
How mature have they become?
Yeah. But what about you? Would you keep him and make him captain still?
Dylan Walker, Egan is captain.
Yeah.
Dylan Walker, 13. Yeah.
All right. So my question to you, first week of finals, if you could pick one, which team would you want the Warriors to face, Broncos or Panthers? Either are an option at the moment. So
yeah, very much so. I kind of already hinted at it a little earlier. I'd love to have a crack at the Panthers without Luai. With Webster, with all his Panthers intel. I'd love to have a crack at the champs right off the bat. If we lose, we get another life. But I think it'd be cool to see us go over there in front of a full stadium full of Panthers fans, and it'd be great if we were to knock them off. I think that would be a fun one to watch, and it might all going well. I'd love to see us face the Broncos in the grand final.
Yeah, I feel we've got a better shot at beating Panthers week 1 than we do Broncos week 1. Just I still feel like we can rattle the Broncos because Reece Walsh hasn't played us yet, and I feel like he'll be up to try to spoil our party in his first game against us, and we know how he ticks. I'm sure we could get him losing his temper, and when he loses his temper, that whole Broncos team derails. So I want to see us play both of them in this final series and beat both. But yeah, at the moment, I'd go with Panthers too.
Yeah, nice.
All right, so we'll go into round 27. So we'll bring up the Warriors-Dolphins game first. The most work I've had to do on this slide because I had to change basically every player in the bloody Warriors team this week. But you want to give us the lowdown on the Warriors team?
Yeah, different names this week. Tane Tuapiki fullback. Ed Kossi makes his return, and he's partnering Marcelo Montoya in the wings. Rocco Berry, Adam Pompey keep their spots. Tamari Martin makes his return, and he's partnering Ronnie Volkman in the halves. Front row is Bunty Afua, Mitch Barnett, Freddie Lussick at hooker. Edge back row is Josh Curran, Marata Niokore, and as we were saying earlier, Dylan Walker, 13 and captain. Interchange bench, Brad and Williami's back, Jackson Ford, Bailey Siren, and Tom Ale. Number 18, Kalani going. Have you heard rumblings of a couple of these, maybe a couple of debutants possibly?
And Jacko mentioned it. Jacko mentioned it a bit earlier too. There was some kind of let slip in Justin Morgan's interview on the radio today. Sounds like potentially Kalani going and Paul Roach will make their debut. I can see. I know a lot of people going, "Why Paul Roach?" I can see it. Looking at that interchange, you don't really have a hooker, and will Freddie play? I don't see Freddie playing the whole game, so it would make sense potentially if they don't want to use Suriname in that way. Be very happy. I've been wanting to see Kalani going and have a run in first grade for a while. Comes from a very famous family. But he's looked the goods in New South Wales Cup. But we are actually playing another team, though, so I'll go through their list. We're playing the Dolphins. So you've got the Hammer at fullback, Jermaine Asako and Jack Bostic on the wings, Tessie New and Ewan Aiken in the centres, former Warriors, Cody Nicarima and Sean O'Sullivan in the halves, Captain Jesse Bromwich, Harrison Graham and Mark Nichols in the front row, Felice Kafusi and Connolly Limu in the second row, and Kenneth Bromwich 13, and then Jared Wallace, Isaiah Katoa, Max Plath, and Herman Essie on the bench. So tough game here. It's not a bad Dolphins side. A lot of Warriors rested, but I still think this is a good team, and I'm going with the Warriors this week. Tamari Martin and Ronald Vogtman at least played together in the halves last week in New South Wales Cup, so they've got a bit of it. You still got those centres, still some decent forwards in there. So it's going to be tough. I don't see it being a landslide, but yeah, I'm backing the Warriors just because I'm too scared to not back them anymore. I've got too much trust in them to get the job done.
I'm backing them too. Yeah.
Dear me being Simon. Sure, the Warriors have all been the form team, and we've talked about how bad the Dolphins have been in the second half. But come on, with so many changes, Dolphins here as the Warriors take a weekend off.
Right, we could have our front rowers in the halves against Cody Nicarima, and we'd still win. No.
Could you imagine if we had Sean O'Sullivan and Cody Nicarima at the Warriors in the halves? Would that have filled you with confidence?
No.
Did that ever fill you with confidence?
No.
Sean
O'Sullivan, yes. And Jacko said he's looking forward to this game, new players, etc., and we can end season with a good win. Yeah, I'm excited. I was a bit down on all the players getting a shot here because I wanted to see the old ones. And I had money on Dallin being leading try scorer, and he needed to play in this game to get it, hopefully. So I was a bit down in the dumps. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm happy to see Tamari back. It'd be great to see Going have a go. Ching. But yeah, it'll be a great game anyway. So hopefully it's a win for us, or Simon's coming for me in that tipping comp. So we'll go to the rest of the round, Paul.
I'm just assuming that Going is from the is a relative of the All Black.
Oh, yes. City, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he is.
Yep.
He also, I think you might know better with rugby union. Kalani also played in what used to be the NPC for Northland as well.
Yeah, not much, but yeah, he played a little bit.
So yeah, round 27 starting Thursday night. Probably the biggest, two of the big games. There's two big games this week. This is the first one, Broncos Storm. We talked about it before we went on air about how hard it was to pick this week. Both of these teams have pretty much gutted their roster, which makes it hard to pick. But I've gone with the Storm here. I think the Storm are going to get the Bronx because they've still got Katoa and Pappenhausen playing. So I went on that alone, basically. Not very confident, but yeah, I'll go with Storm.
I'll go the other way because who knows?
The Broncos for this one, look top of the table, cruising home, as you say. Both teams resting players. This game, in reality, doesn't mean anything to either of these teams. But
it means a lot. Means a lot. Secure minor premiership and potentially get to third place.
It maybe a little bit of prize money, but apart from that, the main thing here is to try and not get any players.
Yeah. Their selections show how much it means to them, Brad.
Yeah. But yeah, if the Broncos win here, this will be the match in finals week 1 again. It'll be Broncos Storm. I think, even if we lost, as long as the Storm lost too, we stay third. But yeah, first game on Friday, Seagulls, Tigers, Seagulls.
It's the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yep. Again, that doesn't affect anything. Yeah, it's,
See,
can
doesn't
the
affect
Eagles,
anything, and look at you just harping on about it now. Like,
I was going to say, the only thing is, can the Eagles win by more than 36 points, end up with a positive points difference at the end of the season?
that might be their goal.
Yeah.
Next game on Friday, the only other really big game this round, Rabbits Roosters. Basically a finals match.
Yeah.
Whoever wins this could make the finals. I've gone Roosters. I've got no faith in the Rabbits. The camp's imploded. Their dogs are killing each other. The Latrell's not playing. It's just an absolute mess there, and I don't see them coming out of it with a win when the Roosters are kind of getting into some form.
I'm going Roosters to win this game and go on a march and make my preseason prediction right.
Yeah, you just wanted to
Rise from the ashes.
yeah.
I mean, look, the Roosters are on a run of four wins here, but again, they're another one of these teams that either wins big or loses big, and they're losing big this weekend, as the Rabbits do just enough to keep themselves in the into the finals.
Yeah. Don't bring that into existence. I need my TAB monies. Next game on Saturday, Panthers Cowboys. Cowboys, trying to get into the top 8. Panthers have let some players rest, but they have still named Nathan Cleary. So for that reason, I am going with Panthers.
Oh,
There is rumors that they might drop those players depending on who wins on Thursday night, though. But we've got to pick now. We can't wait till then.
yeah. I can't confidently pick this game. I'll just say Cowboys.
This is
Lot to play for.
To me, the Broncos storm isn't a big game, but this one is because it is. It's riding on it for the Cowboys. But look, they've just left it too little, too late, and the Panthers will see them off.
In last game on Saturday night, Dragons Knights. I don't pick Dragons, so Knights. And Knights are on a hell of a run. I think this will be the 9th in a row, I think. If they get it.
8 or 9, definitely.
Yeah, I think last week was their 8th.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right. Sorry. Yep, 7. That's right. Because the Broncos are on 7. They're on the longest winning streak, which is 8. Look, you've got to get Knights. They're on a cracking run of form. Really have timed everything perfectly, and they've had big wins the last 3 weeks by 26 points, 19 points, 36 points. It's not like these games are close.
And the Dragons are rubbish.
They are absolute
rubbish.
Trash.
But it's amazing how close they are in the betting. It's $1.80 for the Knights. It's $1.95 for the Dragons, which is surprising, really. For this one, I guess the Knights are resting a few players.
Pong is out, isn't he?
Pong is out.
Yeah.
So that's why you're seeing the swing, because Pong is out. But yeah, I still think they'll get the job done. First game on Sunday, Titans Bulldogs. I've gone with Titans. Rinse to repeat what I said about the Rabbits and the dumpster fire in the club rooms. Same thing's happening with Bulldogs at the moment. So Titans at home, I think they'll do enough.
Titans.
Yeah,
Bulldogs, rubbish.
Who cares? This one, but therefore you go for the home team. That's gonna do it for the fans.
See, this is why everyone's resting their players, Paul, because we don't even care who's playing to pick. See that? So who cares who's playing, right? And that's what Jacko said. He doesn't care who wins other games this week. We're locked in the top 4, so all is well in the world. Yeah.
Well, I know who's Jacko who's picking in this last one because he wants the Raiders to drop out of the 8.
Yeah. Now this last one does matter again. This is one of the 3 games that matters. The 3 games that matter this weekend, which is the Rabbits, Roosters, Panthers, Cowboys, and this one, the Sharks, Raiders. And the Raiders will know what they need to do at this point.
Yeah. So Simon, as always, has picked the Raiders. I'm going with Sharks. Sharks. Hines is back this week, isn't he?
He's named. Sure. I'm pretty sure. Eh?
He's named. So yeah.
So are you saying Raiders drop out of the 8?
Potentially. As long as
Can they lose and still make it? I'm picking Sharks as well.
I think if they lose, they'll be in trouble because of that negative points differential.
It comes down to the Cowboys. If the Cowboys also lose, then they stay in.
Yeah.
But if the Cowboys win, then they're in trouble. So it comes so that they don't really care about what happens between the Rabbits and Roosters at the end of the day. For them, it comes down to did the Cowboys win? If the Cowboys lose, Raiders are safe.
Yes.
If the Cowboys win, then it's in trouble. Would you call? Someone's asking, do you think that do you call the Dragons Knights a derby game?
Potentially. I always think of Dragons Roosters as like the derby rival match. But yeah, Dragons Knights could be, yeah.
But yeah, definitely going for the Raiders in that last one. So who did you guys go for?
I picked Sharks. Who did you pick, Richie?
Sharks as well.
No, Raiders. Well, it comes down to whether they need to win or not. If they don't need to win, then they'll probably cruise home. If they do need to win, they're going to get this one. They're in the final.
A great multi this week. We might get it. 2 games. We all agreed on the Sea Eagles beating the Tigers and the Titans beating the Bulldogs. 3?
Sea Eagles, Knights, and Titans.
Oh, of course. No, because Simon picked Dragons.
Did he?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no, where's Simon's? I've lost his message. Did he?
Surely
Bronco,
not.
yeah, it's here. Look. No, he said pick Knights. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing.
Come on, Brad.
Yeah,
you just wanting to.
I'm trying to screw him over. I'm trying to screw him over here so I can keep my top spot.
You're eyeing up that 2-hour mark's what you're doing.
Yeah, sorry guys. No, yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah,
3.
My bad. I fixed it on my little notepad. Okay, no. So he did amend it. He said he picked the Knights, but he initially put the Dragons in by mistake. So I did see Dragons. So I take that back. I wasn't cheating.
Honest governor.
Honest mistake. All right. So 3 games that we agree on there. So before we move into Jacko's favorite part of Super League, round 6 at NRLW, 4th place Raiders playing the 2nd place Knights, 5th place Broncos playing the 6th place Sharks, 9th place Cowboys playing the 8th place Dragons, 3rd place Titans playing the 7th place Tigers, and the 1st place Roosters playing the 10th place Eels. And there's our 3-game multi for Manly, Newcastle, and Titans. Going to get us a sweet $5.66.
Nice.
This is probably the only round I'm not going to put my multi in. I'm not that confident in my picks. So I might abstain. And yeah, Jay said cheers again, always fun. Yeah, cheers, Jacko. See you next week.
Jacko doesn't want to talk about Wiggins 34-0 over Cadillac.
It was beautiful.
How good.
So yeah, still the same top 4 in Super League, but Wiggins closed the gap. Wigan and St. Helens, I should say. Only 2 points between 1st and 2nd and 3rd. St. Helens, yeah, they have the same points as Wigan, and Lee is still 4th. There were two donuts this week. So Salford defeated Wakefield 20-0. Hull KR defeated Lee 52-10. So Lee's kind of got a bit of a hangover since winning the Challenge Cup. St. Helens defeated Castleford 34-4. Warrington defeated Hull FC 18-4. As you already said, Wigan defeated Catalans 34-0. And then Uddersfield defeated Leeds 21-12. So this week, round 24, we've got Wigan versus Salford, Lee versus Uddersfield, Hull KR versus Catalans, Hull FC versus Leeds, Warrington versus Castleford, and Wakefield versus St. Helens. And yeah, Simon said the Catalan and Wigan game was a horrible game for a Catalan Dragons fan.
I bet it would have been.
As a Wigan fan, I loved it. So it was
yeah.
But yeah, there was some news that I wanted to dive a bit deeper into, but I knew we'd be pushing long, so I didn't take all the details down. But there's still a lot of concerns over in the Super League with they didn't get a great TV deal and they're not getting the numbers that they want for the crowds and stuff, and they're looking at they might have to change how they're doing things because everyone plays each other too much. So you might have the bottom of the table Wakefield playing a team that they're always going to get smashed by 3 or 4 times in the season, and no one goes. But yeah, there was some good points. Some people I know were talking about it. So I think once we hit finals, when we have a bit more time, we might dive into that a bit more. But anything else you want to add Richie or Paul?
Really looking forward to seeing how the baby Warriors go. So let's go Warriors up the wires, and hopefully we do well there. Great to have you back on board, Paul. Nice to see the pictures all nice and crisp and visible this week.
Yeah, so Simon's brought up that news. Sorry. So yeah, the current TV deal is £24 million, and they're only going to get 20 million in the next one. And yeah, it's the loop fixtures that I was trying to explain. So they play each other multiple times, and they're trying to get rid of the loop fixtures because they're not bringing the crowds in. But yeah, sorry to cut you off. Go back to your fond farewells.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. Up the wires, and look forward to chatting again next week.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on the Standoff with Brad and Richie. For your weekly update on rugby league, tune into our show next week at 8 p.m. here on Facebook or at your convenience on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all those places. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. Cheers for joining me again, Richie, and thank you for returning, Paul, and good night, everyone.